it's on my bucket list. So I can check this off. I've been live on Facebook and the internet and all that kind of stuff. So when Becca asked me to do this, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I got right on there. And then after I said it, I walked away and said, what did I just sign up for? What were you thinking, Will? And so I just sat down and went into reflection and said, so what can I bring to the plate here? What can I say to these people that they maybe haven't already heard? And you know what? The bottom line here, folks, is I didn't make any of this stuff up. I didn't invent it, but I use these tools. I use these tools every day in my life. My journey here with Sweet House started in 2003. I had moved from the East Coast, from Boston, Massachusetts, where I grew up. I'd lived there my entire life, 45 some odd years at that point in time. And I knew I had to do something different. My why, the reason why I was there and all the things that I did for all of those years, they were slipping away. And I thought if I moved 2,700 miles, I could make a shift. Well, I moved 2,700 miles, I took all the baggage with me, and I created exactly the same thing here. And for 2.5 years, I limped along, and I finally woke up one morning and said, okay, enough is enough. So a little background on me was, I was in the beauty industry for 40 years. I'm a hairstylist, I owned my own businesses, I worked for companies, I was a chair renter, I had done all of those things. And for all of those years, I was a hairstylist, but what didn't dawn on me was that I was a hairstylist and a life coach. I hadn't even really thought about life coaching until I came here. And I was in the process of changing careers, and I tried a few things, and then a friend of mine actually sent me an email and said, hey, Southwest Institute of Healing Arts is advertising for someone to work in admissions. So I said, okay, I can do that. So I did a little research. I set up an appointment to come here and apply for a job. And I got hired, but not for the job that I was applying for. Ironically, I was hired to work in our aesthetics school as a teacher and makeup artist and director of education in the beauty industry, of which I was trying to get out of. So I fought it. I wasn't going to take the job. And then finally, one night, I don't know what it was, but it was like I got hit over the head with a 2x4, and it was like, Will, let the universe do this. So I just went to my safe space. I called up Casey Miller on the school, and I said, okay, I surrender Dorothy. I'll do it. Well, unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize the path that this was going to take me on. And the way I got into life coaching was part of the requirement of working here is you have to take the life coaching class. So I went and I took the life coaching class with never even thinking that I would ever be a life coach. Well, as I started to progress in my career here, the realization came to me was, even though I wasn't really a life coach, but in my job as director of education and working with students, I was coaching them through their life choices. So I'm a life coach. And then the more I thought about it and I began to reflect back on all the years that I had done all the work that I was doing in the beauty industry, I realized that that was a pretty sweet deal. Get your hair cut and get life coached all for the same price. So you look good, you feel good when you leave, and you're all good to go. So that's how I became a life coach. As my job progressed here, I finally landed in the Sweet House Success Center. And my main job here now is as a business coach and mentor. And I run the Entrepreneurial Support Success Center. I help students and support students through their journey. I support graduates through their journey as they step off into whatever career that they choose to move forward on. So I'm really doing my why, which is what this whole presentation is all about, is what is your why? So as we move forward, I'm going to ask you a question. So here's a question, right? The first question is this. And I ask this of all the students that come into my office and say, Will, throw me a lifeline. Will, help me. I don't know what to do. And the question is this. If money wasn't an issue, what kind of work would you do? So think about that, all right? Don't answer according to what you think needs to be said. Just go to your heart and say, okay, money's not an issue. What would I do? Let that settle in, because this is an important piece as we begin to move forward in whatever our career, whether it's life coaching, whether it's a holistic wellness therapist, whether it's a yoga teacher, whether it's a holistic nutritionist, whatever your program is, in some way, shape, or form, you are going to be coaching people into a direction of making positive life choices and making life changes or creating shift in their life that's going to create positive things for them in their world. So let's see. Did we get any responses?
Yes.
All right. So what's the, okay.
So 71%.
All right. So we have 71% that says, I have a few things that I would like to explore. And 44% say, yes, I know exactly what I would do. All right. That's sweet. That's a good start to what we're talking about here. So those of you who know exactly what you want to do, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon. No, I'm only kidding. All right. So when I asked that question, right, how did that feel to you? And you don't have to answer this, but I just want you to begin to reflect. Go inward, because this is what life coaching is all about. I just ask questions, and then you have to come up with some responses or answers for yourself. Because if I give you the answers, then I'm not really doing the work. I'm just solving the problem for you. And one of the things that I like to say when I'm working with people, and they'll send me an email and they'll say, will you help me? Can you help me, Will? And my response is this: no, I will not help you. I will support you, but I will not help you. Because if I help you, then I'm doing the work. But if I'm supporting you through the process, then it allows you to move through to the next piece of putting the puzzle together of what you need to do to move forward to make positive changes in your life. So as we move through this evening, the whole focus of this is setting the intention for 2018. And as we come to the end of 2017, reflect back on the things that have happened in your life. Begin to focus on the positive stuff. It's so easy for us as human beings, when things are happening in our lives, we begin to focus on the stuff that's not so good, the stuff that's not making us feel good. And we get settled into this place of what I like to call the oh, woe is me. We become a victim. Why did this happen to me? As opposed to stepping into the positiveness of what's happened in our life. And if we can attach to the positiveness, that's what empowers us. That's what empowers us. The strength of saying, yes, I'm here and I'm doing some good stuff. We don't get bogged down into the mud. So can we have the first slide up? Okay, are we there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what is your why? Finding your purpose and living your dream. So now that I've asked you your question about if money wasn't an issue, what kind of work would you do? Is that your why? Is that what you really want to do in the deepest recesses of your heart? When I was a kid growing up, and I didn't really even realize this until much later on, I was in my mid-20s when I bumped into a teacher that I had when I was in junior high school. And she saw me and we were talking and she said, "What are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm a hairstylist in Boston. I work at this big thing." And I told her the whole story and she goes, "Wow." She goes, "You know, you are probably one of the only people that I have taught in all these years that is doing exactly what they said they wanted to do." And I asked her, I said, "Well, I don't know what you mean. How do you know it's what I want to do?" She goes, "Well, you probably don't remember this, but you stood up in front of all of your peers in 8th grade in a student assembly, and you had to say what you wanted to do. And you got up there and you said, when I grow up, I want to be a hairdresser." And that's exactly what I did. And I sat and I thought about it, and it was like, yeah, that is. And so from that moment on, I really began to step into my why. And for 35, well, I graduated from hairdressing school in 1976. So what's the math? Whatever that is, you know. God's grandmother was one of my first clients, if that lets you know how long I was doing hair. And so for all of those years, I was living my why. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize that I was in this position in my life. So I traveled around, I did all my stuff. I had an amazing career. I owned my own business for many, many years. I traveled, I trained with European hairstylists and beauticians. I traveled all over the United States, and I taught people what I love to do. I was living and breathing my why. This was my dream. Well, you know what they say, all good things must come to an end. So here I am, 45 years old. I'm in Boston. The economy changed. 9/11 happened. Things began to fall drop out of the chute. And here I am doing this job that was no longer my why. And it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. So I decided I was going to move 2,700 miles away and recreate something else. I already told you the story about how I ended up here, but I came here and I did exactly the same thing. I worked in a spa, I was a hairstylist, I did all this kind of stuff, and I just was lost. I didn't know what to do. The one thing that I did know was that I am supposed to serve people. And how I serve people is by sharing my gifts. I'm good at what I do. And so for me, my success and the abundance that I have is being able to take my tools and my gifts and give them to somebody else and then watch them fly. When I see somebody spread their wings and launch their business now, it makes my heart full. It just makes me, it's like, yeah, this is why I'm here. So here I am, 2003, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I ended up here, Sweetheart. So with that, I began to discover what my new why is. And I think that's a key point here that we have to understand as we move forward in life. Nothing is carved in stone. We're not statues. We're not stuck here. This is not exactly the way it's supposed to be. We may have an imagination. You may all be at a precipice in your life right now where this is a life-changing moment. You're getting ready to step off into something new, and you might not have any idea where that's going, and that's okay. I was there. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew that something had to change. Something had to shift. I had to find something. And so I stepped into this opportunity, which it took me, when I count back from when I started here, and I count to when I finally ended up in the Success Center and really being the coach and stepping into my why, it took me 10 years. It took me 10 years to get here. But I put my nose to the grindstone. I took as many courses that I could take. I put all my tools together in a toolbox. So now I have something to look upon as this is my why. So let's take it to the next slide. I love this quote. The two most important days in your life are the day that you were born and the day that you found out why. Think about that. I never really thought about that up until maybe 2.5 years ago. I wasn't thinking from the why place. I was just thinking, I'm doing my thing, I'm doing my duty, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But one day, someone came into my office and asked me that question. And the question was, why do you do this? And I had to stop and think. I was like, it's not for the money. All right. Not that it's not, let me rephrase that. That didn't come out very good, did it?
It's funny.
It wasn't for the money. All right. I wasn't for the money. All right. And I really began to think about it. And it was like, it makes my heart sing. That's why I do it. It gives me an opportunity to give back to people in a way that it's almost like money can't buy it. You can pay for a coach, but there's an opportunity here where every single person that sits across me in my office, we have a connection. And the first thing that we do before we even go down the coaching road is we establish a relationship. And so I establish relationships with people, and that's what you will do as you move forward in your practice. As you begin to move forward, there's a key element here. It's how are you thinking around your why? So the next question we have here, are you able to be creative and think outside of the box? And that's important, because when you start to go down this kind of a journey in this kind of an industry, whatever kind of coaching that you do, you have to understand that what we're offering to individuals, to our clients, to our potential clients, is that we're not offering them a product. Like, for instance, here, I have a cell phone, right? I go into the cell phone store and I pay $600 and I walk out and I have a phone. I can play on it, I can call on it, I can do the internet, but I have a tangible piece in my hand here, something that I paid for. What I offer and what you will offer as a life coach or a mentor or whatever it is you're choosing to do, whatever program you're in, is that you are offering an experience. How do you put value on an experience? So what do we have here? So we've got 17% maybe, but I'm not sure if I'm creative. Yes, I think creatively. And 42% said, what box?
You like how I edited that?
I like that.
You're welcome.
I like that.
You're welcome.
So what box? Thank you. Thank you, Becca.
You're welcome.
Becca helped me put this presentation together. And when I sent her my PowerPoint and she says, so I did some stuff to it and I tweaked it. And I'm like, what did you do to my presentation? Little control freak here that I am. So anyway, so thinking outside of the box is a key element here to be successful. And it's not even about coaching. It's any business that you have to do. Because in today's world, right, the people that we are dealing with, the people that we are connecting with, have so much information at their fingertips. They're on the internet, they're looking stuff up. So it's not like before where you had to go and tell them about your product and then tell them about your product and educate your clients. Typically, when you're working with somebody, especially in those beginning minutes of the relationship, you're talking about what you're doing. And if they're anything like me, like if someone calls me on the phone and says, hey, Will, I have this opportunity, or I have this product, would you be into it? I'm on my computer saying, okay, what's your website? And I'm checking them out while I'm talking to them, saying, okay, what's this all about? I saw this on your website. They're going to do the same thing to you. So they already kind of know what you do. The key element here is that we have to begin to think outside of the box and how we're communicating to these people so that they begin to understand what is the benefit to what you offer. I'm offering you something here tonight, right? And there is a benefit here. You can take what I share to you, with you, and you can take all of this stuff. And I have not, like I said earlier, I have not created this. I didn't make this stuff up. I've studied Wayne Dyer. I've studied Marianne Williamson. I've studied Deepak Chopra. I've read all the self-help books. I've gone through all the business programs I could possibly think of. So everything that I'm saying here is not something that Will made up. This is Will's wrap and pack on how do you live your why and follow your dream. So as a professional, as an entrepreneur, we have to begin to think differently. We have to take down all the walls of how we think about things and think about how can I effectively, or you, how can you effectively communicate to the world or your customers in an effective way so that they can see the value in what it is that you are offering them. Once you develop that, you couple that with thinking outside of the box and putting into place your plan, then you are living your why. Next question. Let's go to the next slide. So when we start to talk about your why, this is to me, this is the exciting part. So on the slide here it says, what ignites your light? Think about that. What ignites your light? Many, many years ago, I had somebody, and I can't remember who it was, and I was talking about something. And I think it had to do with my career and how I was going to make money, because let's face it, this is America. This isn't like a barter system. We have to make money. We have to make money to live. We have to pay the bills. So money is, I hate to use the word money is the root of all evil, but we need to have money. So no matter what it is you're doing, that has to be an element to why you do what you do, that you're able to make a living. But when you start to think about that, it's like we have two ways we can go. We can do everything that we want to do, and we do it just for the money. And when you just do it for the money, that's how it shows up. But when you do it from your heart, when you're there and you're serving people and you're supporting people and you help them move through their process, that is when you are truly able to ignite your pilot light and let your light shine. So many, many years ago, I was having this conversation with somebody, and I was doing the old, this is my thing. Well, I could do this, and I could do that. No, I don't want to do that, and I really want to do that, but I need to make this amount of money, and blah, 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 blah. And I was rambling, going on and on and on. And finally, the person went like this. Stop. And they asked me that question. The first question I asked you: if money was an object, if money wasn't an, what was the question?
If money wasn't an object, what would you do?
If money wasn't an object, what would you do? So I told them. They said, well, go do it. And I was like, I went to fear. I was like, I'm just going to go apply for a job. I'll bag groceries at the supermarket or whatever. They go, why? You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be doing what you're doing. Your light's not going to shine. When they said, Will, when you talk about what you want to do, your face lights up, your eyes sparkle, you smile. When you talk about this other stuff, you get all stuck down there. So this is what they said to me. If you do what makes your heart sing, the money will come. And I have held on to that. So all through this process of doing what I did for 40 years and then moving out here and going through all that shift, that is the thing that goes around and around and around in my head when the fear comes up, when I start to feel like I'm not going to be able to move forward. It's just like, just do what you do, just do what you do, trust in the universe. The universe will supply. The universe will make the resources available to you. Now, I know that sounds a little bit like woo-hoo, which, yeah, it is. Because here at SWIHA, Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, we have this thing about manifestation, right? So you can manifest things in your life. And as we set the intention for 2018, that is one of the key things that we will be doing is manifesting what it is that we want in 2018. But here's the deal about manifesting, right? When you manifest, you just don't say, okay, universe, this is what I want. You sit back, you cross your arms, and you wait. I'm going to tell you something. The last time I tried to manifest my rent check and I did nothing about it, I was 25 days late and I got a late fee, right? So if you're going to manifest, you set the intention, you put it out to the universe, you see it, you speak it, You pray or meditate on it, and then you do the work that is yours to do to make this happen. Because we have to do the work. You don't just sit back and wait for it to fall out of the sky. You have to do the work. When you begin to do that work, there's like an energetic, it's not really a shift, but there's an energy that happens. And you do one thing, and then you do the next thing, and then you do the next thing, and then you do the next thing. And before you know it, you're rolling along, and you look back and you go, holy cow, I just did a whole bunch of stuff. You know, and in the meantime, you're just sitting there waiting for it to manifest. And before you know it, things begin to drop into your lap. It's like that old thing, like when you're looking for a job, you can't find one. When you have a job, they're all over the place, right? So think of your business. This is your job. This is the work that you have to do. Every single day, as you move forward, you have to do at least one thing for your business, for your coaching business or your whatever business you're in, one thing every day. Make a bucket list, get yourself set up in some sort of a little one-page business plan, something that you can reflect upon. Get yourself a journal that you can write in your journal, process. Call me at the Success Center. I'm a great cheerleader. If you don't have a cheerleader, I'm a great cheerleader. I'm happy to support you through that process. But every single day, as we begin to set the intention, and you can start right now, right? It's December 6th, so we have about 25 days left to this month. So you have 25 days between now and New Year's Day to start to put a plan into place. What are you going to manifest for 2018? What are you going to choose to let go of in 2018? How are you going to begin to think differently in 2018? So that as you begin to think outside of the box, as you begin to focus on what it is that you want to do, as you begin to connect to your why, connect to your heart, right? Take the 18-inch journey from your head to your heart and begin to think with your heart. Because I will tell you, if you have an argument between your heart and your head will win every time. It's one of the strongest muscles in your body. In the instance of a thought, it can bring the most progressive and powerful athlete to their knees in the moment of a thought. And it's the same thing for us. So we have to get out of our head box and go into our heart box and start thinking from there. And say to yourself, what ignites your light? What makes me shine? What makes me want to get up in the morning, put my feet on the floor, stand up, and move forward as opposed to sitting back down, pulling the covers over your head and going back to sleep? Right? That's what it means when you start to look at living your why. Let's do the next slide. So the next slide is, okay, so this is what we have here. So the question that I'm going to ask you here is, what are you passionate about? All right. Now, we asked, what is it that you would do if money wasn't an object? All right. We asked you about thinking outside of the box. So now let's think about passion. Right? What are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? Wow. Ooh. I thought we had 100%.
We did.
We did have 100%. All right. So what happened to the other ones? What happened?
A little bit of fear.
A little bit of fear. All right. So we've got about 85% was fluctuating here. All right. We're going to wait till the scales settle down here. So we got about 85% of I'm ready to claim it. And we've got 15% yes, but fear stopping. Perfect. All right. So those of you who are ready to claim it, let's claim it. Those of you who are a little behind the fear ball, let's just breathe into that. okay? Let's just breathe in to the fear, right? Breathe into it, think about it, right? So when we look at connecting to our passion, right? When you tap into your passion becomes your purpose. And your purpose becomes your passion. The purpose is fed by the fuel of your passion. Think back in time to a period in your life when you were doing something that you really, really, really loved to do. Think about it. Close your eyes, breathe into it. Feel it. I just got goosebumps.
I did too.
Did you get goosebumps?
Uh-huh.
I just got like,
Like,
woohoo!
mm-hmm.
They're still coming up here.
It's the third time
Third time.
for me.
That is your passion. Because you were just so into the moment. You were thinking outside of the box. You were thinking from your heart space. Your head was on a vacation. There were none of those thoughts coming in. And you were there, living and breathing your passion. And you turned it into a purpose. So those of you who said you're ready to claim it, can you breathe into that moment? Are you ready? Right? Are you ready to take that step, to take that leap of faith? Because that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about faith. And it's not about faith like faith up here. Yes, there is. Whether you believe in God or whatever it is, the universe or Kermit the Frog or whoever you pray or meditate to, whoever that is, all right? But the most important person that you have to have faith in is you. If you don't believe in you, then I can't believe in you. If you don't believe in you, nobody's going to believe in you. So you have to put your big girl, boy pants on, boy or girl pants on, pull them up high and say, I can do this. I believe that I can do this. I have faith that I can do this. This is my passion. This is my purpose. And notice the words that I'm saying. I am. This is. Not I'm gonna. It's not I'm gonna or someday or maybe I will. It is I am doing this. This is my work. It's like it's here, it's now, it's happening. Because when we think in the abstract, when we think of, oh, well, yeah, someday. Well, when is someday? When is someday? I had an opportunity with a friend of mine. One of the things that I didn't share about one of my many tools that I do is I'm a singer. And I've always wanted to record a CD. And for 15 years, I kept saying, I'm going to record a CD. I'm going to record a CD. And people would say to me, Will, you sing so well. Why don't you record a CD? And I go, oh, yeah, someday I'm going to do it. Well, finally, one day I was speaking and singing at a church. And the pastor of the church got up in front of everybody. And this was like in Labor Day. In front of the whole congregation, she says to me, so I understand that you're gifting me your CD for Valentine's Day. This is September, and I've got September, October, November, December, January, February. I had no music. I had nothing. I had nothing. And I was put on the spot. So me being me, I stand up, and I look at her, and I go, absolutely. On Valentine's Day, you will have my CD. And in the next few months, I recorded my CD. Something that I had wanted to do for 15 years, I did it in 4 months. Why? Because I said, yes, I'm going to record that CD. And I didn't even know where the money was going to come from. And ironically, I mean, because it costs a lot of money to record a CD. Like you have to, rent tracks, you have to do all this stuff. And then there's recording time and there's mastering and it was, when I got done, you're talking, it was like probably close to $4,000. I didn't have $4,000. But once I started the process, the unbelievable thing to me was the $4,000 showed up. It just dropped into my lap. Somebody came in, heard what I was doing, and said, I want you to do this. So here's the $4,000. And then I said I was going to pay it back. I said, it's a loan. It's a loan. And then after I recorded the whole CD, the person came back and said, blessings, it's a gift. And I did it. So on Valentine's Day, I had one copy of my CD. The artwork wasn't done, so I made this fake little label, and I walked into church with my one little CD, and I presented it to the minister. It said, Happy Valentine's Day.
Wow.
That happened because I was passionate about what I wanted to do. I set the intention, now here's the deal. I had a time frame. Someday went out the window. I knew Valentine's Day, February 14th of that next year, I had to have this done. So there was no backsliding. And I sang at that church on a regular basis. So every time I went back, it was like thrown right back up. Well, how's the CD coming? Oh yeah, it's working. But I did it. I set the intention. I went to my heart. I let the passion fuel my purpose. And I made it happen because it was within a timeline. So there's a key point here, ladies and gentlemen. As you begin to manifest your business, whatever it is that you're going to do, don't do it in the abstract. Be focused. When you say you're going to do it, I'm going to start here and I'm going to end there.
You have a question?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, Kayla said, wow, divine timing.
Divine timing, absolutely.
And Tracy has a question of what if you have a couple different passions?
So the question is, what if you have a couple different passions? So I do. Singing is one, coaching is one, decorating is one. But I had to look at whatever at that point in time is going to make me the happiest. You can also look at whatever those two are, and are they aligned? Can you work them together? Can one passion be the main piece and the other passion be a side piece or a supportive piece? So I'll give you an example. I was meeting with a student today, and he came in and he didn't have a clue of what his business wanted to be. But he knew he wanted to do hypnotherapy, he knew he wanted to do life coaching, he knew he wanted to do nutrition, and I forget what the other one was. And he was like, well, which one should I do? And I said, well, which one out of all these four things, if I said to you, pick one, which one would you pick? So he told me. I said, okay. So what he wanted to do was life coaching. I said, okay. He was also in the beauty business, ironically, esthetician. And I said, so you want to be a life coach, you're an esthetician, you're in the beauty business. So have you begun to realize how life coaching supports your beauty business? And your beauty business could possibly feed you clients as life coaching. So we got that out of the way. So he said, yes. He said, but now what do I do with the hypnotherapy? Well, when you are life coaching, when you're working with somebody, it's not just like you have one tool. Like I have many tools that I use when I talk to people around what I need to do. And whatever tool I pick out of my toolbox will serve that purpose. So his other passion was hypnotherapy. So we set it up that his business would be coaching of some sort with hypnotherapy as a side piece that supported his life coaching business. So he was able to take the two things that he was passionate about and put them together and create one business.
Beautiful.
All right? So I hope that answers your question. So what was I talking about before that? Oh, so then someone else mentioned divine timing. Absolutely. So if you notice on here on the slide, it says, when you connect with the divine, all things are possible. So when we can get out of our head, go to our heart, because when you pray, when you meditate, whatever it is that you do to create peace in your life, maybe it's breathing. Maybe it's as simple as a breathing exercise, right? When you bring yourself to that place of stillness, when you can quiet all the chatter in your head and listen, that is when you will connect with the divine. And that's when things become possible. Connect with the divine. You believe. You have to believe. You have to believe. Remember in The Wizard of Oz, what did Glinda tell
Dorothy.
Dorothy, thank you. I was going to say Judy.
It's okay.
Right? What did she tell Dorothy? You had it in here the whole time. All you had to do was believe it. And it's the same thing for us. We have it in here. We have everything that we need to move ourselves forward and be successful. It's all in here. Sometimes we have to dig things out and dust them off. Sometimes we need to take a class or a course to give us another tool, but it's all here. It's all here. If you went and got your training as a hypnotherapist or even as a life coach, if you went and got all your tools as a life coach and said, okay, I got these tools, I don't really believe them, I don't know if they can work, but I'm a life coach. How successful are you going to be? But if you say, okay, I have these tools, I've taken these tools and I've put them into play in my life, and I have seen how when I practice these tools in my life and how my life has changed, then I can help somebody. And that's a key element. As you go out there and begin to talk with your potential clients, right? I call this your badge of validation. It's like, what gives you the right to do this, right? What gives me the right to sit here and talk to you like this? Because everything that I'm telling you to do, I've done. I may have been a little bit slow. It may take me a few years to, get with the program. And I didn't get with the program until I came to Sweha. And that's when I began to think differently. I began to think how I had to change the shift in my brain. But I put all of these tools into place. So that gives me the right to sit here and talk to you. Beyond the 40 years of being in business and, I have the business experience, but it's the life experience. It's how I've used these tools in my life to make things happen for me. And you can do the same thing too. What's the next question? Oh, I love this one. I love this one. All right. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And this is a huge question. And there's a lot of things that we become afraid of. Right? There's the fear of failure. There's the fear of success. There's a fear of change. There's a fear of judgment. There's a fear of, I can't even think of what all the other fears that there are. Fear of taking the first step. Loss of income. There's all these fears, right? And I'm going to give you a little secret here, people. You are not alone in that rowboat. That fear rowboat sometimes is so overpacked, people are falling out into the water because everybody jumps into that boat. And it's so easy to hide behind fear. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the first time I've done a thing like this. So I was in a little fear. I was in a little fear of doing this today with you guys because this is a new medium for me. But it was like I could have stayed in that fear and called up Becca 2 weeks ago and said, Becca, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. But it was just like, Will, believe in yourself. You can do this. Make this happen.
And guess what? I'm a life coach, so I'm going to help hold him accountable for his yes, because I know his why.
She knows my why. She knows my why. This is my why. This is part of my why. So
here's our feedback.
So what's our feedback? Okay, so we have 60% of people who are afraid of failure. We have 20% of people who are afraid of success. 10% of taking the first step. And 10% of loss of income. All right, so I'm going to go through each one of these. All right, I'm going to talk briefly. So taking the first step, all right, let's do loss of income first, all right? So this is what I say to people as they're taking on this new venture in as an entrepreneur. Don't quit your day job yet. Right? One of the biggest mistakes that people do when they want to manifest as an entrepreneur and do a business is they quit their job before they have anything into place. And then not only are they worried about building a business, but they're worried about their money. Right? 30%, and this is a true statistic because I teach a business course, so I just looked this up. But 30% of the most successful entrepreneurs in this country are successful because while they're building their business, they're doing something else to bring money in. Now, that doesn't mean it's your dream job. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you have to do things that you might not enjoy doing, right? And that's just the way it is. You just have to bite the bullet and do what it is that you need to do to bring money into the business so that you're not worrying about the money. When you begin to manifest yourself as an entrepreneur, and if you're going out to rent a space or you need a website and you need communications and things like that, costs money, people. So if you don't have enough money to live, where are you going to get the money to make the business flourish? Okay? So that's the first thing. Don't quit your day job, right? And find something that maybe aligns with what you want to do. So let's say you're in the holistic nutrition business and you want to be a coach around holistic health and wellness and food choices and things like that, and you need to make some money. So search out a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or something like that to where you can work that would make you feel like you're still in the industry, bring you some money while you can build your business. Maybe that will work, right? Maybe it won't, but do something because that can derail you. Is worrying about money is one of the big things that can send you down the tubes, right? So the second one is taking the first step. Yes, taking the first step is scary, but if you never take that first step, you're never going to know. So if you're taking the first step, you have a little bit of a support system over here that's making a little bit of money as you move forward, and you take that first step, it's a little bit more solid. Think about Indiana Jones when he was going for the Holy Grail, right? He had to take that step. If he didn't take that step, then there were going to be consequences. Now, I'm not saying that your consequences are the same, but if you don't take the first step, if you don't ask the question, then the answer is always going to be the same. And the answer is this: no. You're never going to know. So, yes, it's scary, but get yourself a support system. I'm a big believer in getting yourself a business buddy, somebody that might be doing the same thing as you or, has been in business that you can use as a mentor that you can talk to. You can always call and talk to me at the school. That's always an option. All right, so the next one is failure. So we got 60% of the responses are fear of failure. Guess what? Most of the successful millionaires and billionaires in this world have failed more than once. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 times. So there's going to be a failure in some way, shape, or form. Now, if you can reframe the word failure into a lesson, what is the lesson I'm going to learn? Right? My very, very first business that I owned back in the early 80s was a hair salon. And I had it for 8 years. It was doing really, really well business-wise, but I was an ostrich. I had no business experience. I stuck my head in the sand. I didn't want to know anything about money. And consequently, for me, I got into a very lengthy battle with the Internal Revenue Service, 13 years. $300,000 later, I was able to dig myself out of it. And for many, many years, I hid behind this failure. I created a story about why I closed my business. It was a beautiful story. I mean, But it got to the point where I told the story so many times and I added so much stuff to it, I couldn't even remember what I told half the time. But I hid because I thought I had failed. And then one day, one of my clients, it was in the salon, it was the end of the day, it was a Friday night, and she asked me this question. She said, so really, why did you close your business? And I kind of like stepped back. It was like someone had like pulled the covers off me while I was sleeping and I was like naked. I was like, ah! And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, well, I've been your client for 10 years. I want the truth. I want the whole story because you're not telling me the whole story. So I sat down and I told her the whole story about how I got into trouble with the IRS, how I buried my head in the sand. I didn't want to ask questions. I trusted people that I shouldn't trust and all this kind of stuff. And as I told this story, I felt like I was being lifted and the weight that I was carrying around, hiding behind this mask that I was wearing, was gone. And I was like, wow. And it was the first time. Now imagine, this was 10 years after I had this all happen to me. So imagine after 10 years being able to look in the mirror and go, wow, this is like really cool. And then I sat down and I said to myself, okay, well, let's release the word failure. I changed it to the word challenge. And I revisited that whole process and said, okay, now what was the lesson? What was my takeaway from this? What did I learn? I learned a lot of stuff in that. It was a very expensive lesson. But it was at that point in time that I began to realize that my failure was the stepping stone. And when I look back now, and that was, so I've been in Arizona since 2003, so it's 17. So I've been here 14 years. So this was 10 years before that. So 25 years later, who knew that incident in my life was going to be the stepping stone to me sitting here in front of you, living my why. There's something about failure. And then the last one, success. Okay? So, yeah, success is scary. Success is scary. Why is success scary? Because when you're at the top of the mountain, there's always somebody there that's ready to kick you off. But the most amazing thing about success is the journey. It's 5 minutes. It's about the journey. Not where you start, not where you finish, but where you move forward. So don't be afraid of success. Revel in the success. So this side here, the why in Sweetheart, that's my East Coast coming through. As Sweetheart, all right, we always have acronyms for everything. So when I was putting this talk together, I was talking to our CEO, and she was talking to me about why. And she says, what's the acronym for why? And I just looked at her and I said, well, it's Sweetheart. So what heals you? So when you are thinking about your why, think of it in that moment. What is going to heal me? What is going to heal me? Okay? Let's do is this the last slide? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's move through these. So here's some questions for you. Why am I here and what do I hope to gain? What are my obstacles? What means will I use to get past my obstacles? Clarify your purpose. What sparks your life? Light. Passion equals purpose equals energy. So those are your questions. Those are the things, those are the statements that you're going to have moving forward. Go to the next, if you would please. Mm-hmm. So what are your obstacles? What are your obstacles? Look at them, see them, become the neutral observer. Don't judge. Everybody has them. But are you going to go over them? Are you going to go around them? Or are you going to stay stuck behind them? Only you have the answer to that question. And the last piece here, is that the last one I have? Oh no, I have a couple more. We'll end there.
That's fine.
So the last piece that I have here, and I'm going to share this with you, and this all kind of feeds into my why and why I'm here, is be grateful for all the obstacles in your life. They have strengthened you as you continue with your journey. So in closing, we can finish? We have time to finish? Okay. So why? Here's that big question again, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Why? Find the answer to that question. Go back to all the information that I shared with you. Go back to the PowerPoint. Go back to these questions, those 4 questions that I asked you, and ask them again. After we've been through this, ask them again and see if your answers don't change. What's next?
Just our motto.
So, here at SWIHA, our motto is, we learn to touch lives, heal bodies, and to free souls. So my invitation to you, as you move forward in 2018, is, are you willing to claim your passion and your purpose? Are you willing to learn how to heal lives, touch souls? Step into becoming the best version of you can possibly be in 2018. I am here for you. You can reach me at the school, probably the best way to reach out to me, and I would love to hear from you all that have been with us this evening. My email address is willz, that's Will, Z as in zebra, at SWIHA, SWIHA.edu. I'm on my phone 24/7. I check my email constantly. I know that we're in different time zones, but please, reach out to me. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you.
Thank you, Will.
You bet.
I'm going to scoot in here with you.
All right.
So you guys can also contact me to set up an appointment with Will in the Success Center. And for those who aren't physically here, obviously he can call you or Skype or anything. We also have a full team of admissions coaches, which we are dream coaches, life coaches, spirit guided healers. We've all taken programs here and know program specifics and are here to support you on your path. So either way, you can contact Will, the front desk, myself. We are here to serve in the light. We are light workers.
We are.
Energy workers.
And remember what I said. If you don't ask, the answer will always be what? No.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a great holiday. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next year.
Happy intention setting. And let's go off here. If anyone has any questions, I will be following up with you tomorrow. Just let me know what kind of support you need, and Will and I can fully support you. So blessings, everyone.
See you later.